Hello and welcome back. This is Chris Mosier, and you're listening to the Grateful Truce podcast. This is the place where we move beyond the struggle and talk about finding real, lasting peace with alcohol. If you're new here, you should know I'm not a theorist or a therapist. I'm a fellow traveler on this road. My first two marriages ended in the catastrophic wreckage of active addiction on both sides. I know what it's like to be the one causing the pain, and I know what it's like to be drowning in it. But I'm also living proof that a new chapter is possible. My third marriage is the healthiest, most joyful relationship of my life, nearing a decade strong. The difference? The truce. Today, we're tackling one of the hardest subjects. What happens when alcohol becomes the third person in your marriage, and how to reclaim the relationship you deserve. We're going to walk through this together. We'll look at how alcohol silently poisons your connection, the real world toll it takes, and, most importantly, the practical steps both partners can take to heal. And for those of you who feel this is a spiritual battle as much as a physical one, we'll ground this hope in the truth that sets us free. Alcohol in a marriage doesn't always have to look like screaming matches and broken furniture. More often, it's a silent, creeping frost. It's the slow erosion of inside jokes, the forgotten conversations, the emotional distance that grows until you wake up one day next to a stranger. Research from the University of Buffalo found that for every extra liter of alcohol a household consumes per year, the risk of divorce increases by about 20%. That's not a coincidence. It's a slow drip, hollowing out trust and connection under the guise of unwinding. I lived this. In my past marriages, the bottle was the most important relationship in the house. It came before my wife, before my responsibilities, before everything. You don't see the damage you're doing when you're in the fog. You only see it in the rearview mirror, and it's a heartbreaking view. Now, this might sound counterintuitive to some. In the beginning, alcohol feels like it helps communication, right? On those early dates, a glass of wine loosens the tongue, lowers your inhibitions, and it feels like you're connecting more deeply. And in the short term, that might be true. But in the long-term marriage, something insidious happens. Alcohol stops being a social lubricant and starts becoming a builder. It builds a wall between you and your spouse, brick by brick. The first bricks are small. It's the promise you make to only have 2 drinks, and then you have 5. It's the slight slur in your words that makes your spouse disengage from the conversation. It's the forgotten detail from a talk you had the night before. As the drinking continues, the bricks get bigger. You start to drink alone. You have arguments about the drinking itself. You stop talking about your dreams and you start arguing about your habits. The wall grows. What started as a little fence you could easily see over now becomes a concrete brick wall. Then mortar is added. The resentments, the broken trust, the disappointment, Soon you have a barrier so high and so strong that even trying to shout over it feels pointless. You're in the same house, you share a bed, but you are in two completely separate fortresses. And the chief architect of the wall, the one supplying the bricks and the mortar, well, that's alcohol. Here's the brutal cycle that builds the wall higher every day. Stress hits. You drink to escape. It works for about an hour, but the stress doesn't leave. It rebounds harder the next day, now joined by shame and fatigue. So what's the easiest solution? Another drink. Heck, another six-pack. Another bottle of wine. Meanwhile, the non-drinking spouse is left carrying the entire emotional and practical load of the marriage. Resentment builds. The drinking partner feels that resentment and drinks to escape that. It's a devastating feedback loop. It's a never-ending cycle of drinking versus non-drinking. And it's even worse in marriages if you're both drinkers. There's also a neurological reason for this. Alcohol chemically hijacks your brain. It shuts down your prefrontal cortex, the part that's responsible for empathy, patience, and impulse control, while amplifying the primal reactive part of your brain. Your spouse isn't your teammate anymore. They become a source of irritation. You're not truly home anymore when you're drinking, and that emotional abandonment leaves a very deep wound. The fallout from this cycle and this communication wall is everywhere. First, trust. It's not just about big lies. It's hiding the bottles, deleting receipts, breaking promises. You have to memorize each one of these lies, which becomes more and more stressful. Each secret is another layer of mortar on that wall, making it thicker and more impenetrable. Finances. This is a two-headed monster. First, there's the direct cost. The bar tabs, a bottle of wine, the liquor store runs. It adds up. Thousands of dollars a year. Money that, of course, could be spent on a vacation, a college fund, or peace of mind. This builds huge resentments for the spouse that doesn't drink. But second, and this is just as devastating, is the financial impulsivity. Remember, alcohol shuts down the prudent, risk-averse part of the brain. I'm an accountant by trade, and I learned this the hardful, painful way. I made stock purchases I never would have when I was sober. I literally bought a house on a drunken whim. Hey, that's going to fix my marital problems. You make terrible, impulsive financial decisions that can cripple your family for years. You're not just spending money on drinks, you're burning down your financial future with the poor judgment that drink causes. Then there's the children. Hear me on this. Kids are emotional sponges. They feel the tension. They see the wall. They learn that alcohol is how you cope. Adolescents in these homes have double the rates of anxiety and triple the rate of substance use by age 15. The cycle is passed down. Hear me on this. I started drinking in my 13s. So what do? How do we fight this? It starts with ending the silence and making a conscious choice for something better. If you're the one drinking, I know the shame. I know the guilt. I know the cravings. I understand the feeling of being trapped. The first step is not a 30-day rehab. It's a conversation. You need to tell the truth. First to yourself, then to one other safe person. Get a real plan. Willpower is not a plan. Assuming is not a plan. They are leaky buckets. You must replace the ritual, not just remove the drink, but the entire process. Before you go drink, when you're drinking, what you do after you drink. This all needs to change. Go for a walk. Make a fancy mocktail. Pray. Pray again. Fill this void with something life-giving. Maybe gardening. If you're the partner, if you're the one not drinking, your role is not to be the police. Trust me, that's the last thing the person drinking wants. It's exhausting and it doesn't work. Your role is to set boundaries, to protect your own well-being. Seek support for yourself through groups like Al-Anon or therapy, even though I'm not a huge fan of the therapy. I've been through more than enough and found it really was not beneficial in my case. Detach with love, hate the poison called alcohol, not the person, your spouse. And crucially, keep your own dreams alive. Your joy matters. Here is the profound good news. Brains heal. Relationships heal. This is called neuroplasticity. Within weeks of sobriety, your brain begins to repair itself. And so does your liver, by the way. Serotonin stabilizes, sleep improves, and that fog lifts. Couples can relearn how to love each other sober. Think of it like dating again, but with clear eyes. This is how you start tearing down the communication wall, brick by painful brick. Schedule a weekly State of the Union talk, just 10 or 15 minutes. No phones. Ask what's working, what's not working, what do we need to modify. And you must inject fun back into your marriage. Novelty and shared joy release oxytocin, the love hormone that is so prevalent in the women. This time, the love will be for real. My marriage today is a testament to this. The truce I found wasn't just with alcohol. It was a surrender to a higher power that I call Jesus Christ. I had to get out of my own self-centered way. As it says in 2 Corinthians 5:17, therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away. Behold, the new has come. This isn't just a spiritual platitude. It's a practical reality. When you stop trying to be the God of your own life and invite the true God in, you find a strength that isn't your own. You find the grace to forgive yourself and your partner. You find the patience to rebuild. My faith wasn't a magic wand that fixed everything, but it was the bedrock that gave me the strength to do the hard work. Some call it the cornerstone. That silent poison, that master wall builder we've been talking about, it is beatable. Your marriage isn't doomed. It is one brave conversation, one clear-eyed decision away from starting to tear that wall down, brick by brick. If this is your day one, or your day one again, press pause on that pour. Take a break from that beer. Breathe. Reach out for help. Your future and the future of your marriage is waiting. It's a future built not on a substance, but on a solid rock. Thank you for listening. Until next time, may you find the courage to seek your truce and the grace to walk it out, one day at a time. God bless.